You were the provider, the protector, the one who said, "I'll handle it," even when no one asked. For years, you woke up thinking about someone else's needs, packing lunches, paying bills, building a career, holding space for everyone except yourself. And you did it well. You built a life, a family, a legacy. But now, the house is quiet. The calendar is no longer filled with soccer games or school meetings, and something strange begins to surface in the silence. Who am I when no one needs me? This question, it doesn't shout, it whispers. It creeps in at night when the lights are off and the role-playing ends, and what it uncovers is a kind of emptiness that success can't fill. Carl Jung called this moment the midlife transition, not a crisis, but a necessary turning point. We cannot live the afternoon of life according to the program of its morning, he wrote. In the first half of life, we climb, we achieve, we prove. But eventually, the latter leads somewhere we didn't expect, to the realization that we've built everything and still feel like something's missing. And maybe that something isn't outside, it's within, a forgotten part of you, a self you left behind. Pause for a second, let that sink in. Have you been so busy building a life that you forgot to live your life? You were strong, you had to be. People leaned on you, so you became the reliable one, the calm one, the one who never broke. But strength can become a mask. And over time you wore that mask so well, you forgot you were even wearing it. Jung called it the persona, the version of ourselves we craft to survive in society, to fit in, to be needed, to be loved. And while the persona helps us function in the world, it's not who we truly are. Beneath that polished image lives something raw, something real, your shadow. The shadow is not evil, it's just hidden. It holds everything we repress to be accepted. Your unmet needs, your quiet dreams, your anger, your desires, your softness. Maybe you were told that your wants were selfish, that your emotions were too much. So you pushed them down. And the more you silenced those parts, the further you drifted from your own soul. Until you make the unconscious conscious, Jung warned, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Think about it. How many times did you say yes when you were burning out inside? How often did you swallow your truth to keep the peace? This isn't about blame, it's about becoming aware. Because buried beneath the persona and the performance is someone who never stopped longing to be seen. And maybe that someone is you. You can't go back. You can't rewrite the nights you stayed up holding everything together. You can't undo the years you gave freely, completely, while asking for so little in return. But here's the truth most people never hear. You don't have to keep giving away what's left of you. That ache you feel, that quiet discomfort when the roles fall away, it's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. Jung believed that the midpoint of life was not a collapse, but an invitation, a call to wholeness, to stop being who you were told to be and start becoming who you really are. What did you do with the unlived life inside you? That's the real question. And maybe, for the first time, you don't owe anyone an answer. Maybe you don't need permission to rest, to say no, to walk a little slower and finally listen to your voice. Because here's what no one tells you about reaching the middle. It's not the middle, it's the threshold of something deeper, truer, wilder. You're not too late, you're right on time to begin a life that feels like yours. So ask yourself, what do I still carry that no longer belongs to me? And what wants to emerge now that I've stopped disappearing? This is where the real work begins, not in becoming something new, but in remembering what was always there. Carl Jung called it individuation, the process of becoming whole, not perfect, not polished, just whole, with all the parts of you finally sitting at the same table. Wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of one's being, he wrote, but by integration. This means you don't have to keep rejecting your sensitivity. You don't need to hide your needs to prove your strength. You don't have to earn rest, peace, or self-respect anymore. Because the second half of life isn't about striving, it's about reclaiming. And where do you begin? You begin by walking without a destination, letting silence guide you, by allowing joy to surface in unexpected places, by asking in the quietest moments, what did I once love before I became who I was expected to be? You begin by saying no to what drains you, and yes to what restores you, to art, to nature, to depth. This is not selfishness. It's sacred responsibility to the one person you've been leaving behind, you. The road forward isn't straight. It's more like a spiral. You'll meet the same themes again and again, but each time from a deeper place. And on this spiral, you're not lost. You're returning. You sacrificed everything, and no one can take that away. The love you gave, the steadiness, the years of showing up when it was hard, that doesn't make you weak. But maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop disappearing in everyone else's story. Time to stop editing yourself to fit roles that no longer fit. Time to stop measuring your worth by how useful you are to others. Because underneath all that giving, there's someone waiting. Someone who's been patient, who never asked for perfection, only presence, only truth. That someone is you, and you are not too late. You are not broken. You are not behind. This, right now, is the beginning of a different kind of life. Not built on proving, but on presence. Not chasing legacy, but reclaiming soul. The world may not notice your shift, but you will in the quiet moments, in the peace that comes from finally coming home to yourself. And maybe, for the first time, you'll stop asking what's left for me and start living from the knowing that you were never lost. You were just waiting to begin.